Yes, I'm going to mama kwa baby embra so say Mpensenpensemu to so Badwam on Adom TV live on DSTV channel 280, Go TV channel 119, Multi TV channel so that's so live yeah we share. Yes, to me so Facebook Adom TV extra. Uko YouTuber Adom TV. Meaning the akwasi insia. Happy birthday call for my Mrs. Flores Nana Akosia Agbeto, former staff Bank of Ghana Kumasi. We free obri yabua fentem from so wish you all the best. Nyame shiraw no onye okese. You're 60 years today. Nyame nkosoma umfie enko enemo. Another pay year share the 2024 budget. Yeah, Minister for Finance Ken of Rata ko tuja Ghana mrahye film. Baby e ni AC eye edwadie. Esanse oman ya fe ne ye fife sense kasam ne kan komodie. Ade ba ko betimi aboye se na edwadie be ko ede afa. Eterape ejuma ketua bi menu akofie of Joy News abaye o dey be through the budget, especially baby a edwadie ede ewo ni ahwe tax reliefs awodo aban ede eba aban sika o se de sabetimi aka se no kresa ampa aban sabetimi aka na kwan be na aban betimi afa so ne sabeka se sika na ensa anko ha edwadie kofi mo acha no pay
amenia
boko de
na me adom bia boko na o
ye me ase result pay we slice are you ready? Yeah, be at Nakom. Confia for 2024 budget, near share trade aspect. Baby, I buy a tour eddy free year. Baby, I buy peso sa reki in more revenue. Near reki in more revenue. Per se, say, oh, budget in more. A benya to sound so be. I would dread oh, yeah, Memswana.
What better I say? Yeah, share the first quote, which is probably the famous quote from the 2024 budget. Kedo Foriata say, and I want to read verbatim. I'll say, okay. I want to stress at this juncture that Ghana has paid its dues, has turned the corner, and the economy is getting back on track. Enti ye bisaya who say ye economy na ye hunu sesiano. Are we getting back on track? In fact, ye share inflation about down from 54.1% when it peaked in December 2022, so see, I share 35.2%. Now, we'll share the commercial rates at which banks, the loans in the private sector is still around less than 31%. It be even up to 33, 34%. Oko commercial banks, that's also open loans. But the most important aspect of the 2024 budget are the tax aspects. Because Oshe ye IMF program that we are currently running now, government say opese odi ye tax to GDP ratio. That is o compare ye tax any ye GDP wants to move it from the current 13%. And some of we IMF program no ne free sa 13% no akwa could do somewhere around 18% by the end of 2020. Enti ye bisaya who say a kwan be so na aban no ebetimi afa tax to GDP ratio of 13%. E dey akwa could do 18% by 2026 without burdening the business sector. Enti ye share the 8 tax reliefs government the buy in the 2024 budgets. We share the first I think 5 of them. Or say there will be a 0% VAT on locally manufactured African print into more and more African print industry. Now already 0% VAT and you are enjoying it. Government say Obabe extending 2 additional years, 2 more years. Now Moguso I enjoy 0% VAT. VAT currently is around 15%. There will also be a 0% VAT on locally manufactured sanitary pads. Ahana 71 because Oshe sanitary pads are yemano. And the tax on sanitary pads is around 15% in terms of the VAT. Now, omo crab and so udu porta yasaji ubibi kakra. Currently, so your banner sabosome sona se unni about 20 cedis and now 30 cedis are. Untimimpo ento 1 pack of pad na ubabe easy in that month. But ye bisaya who say locally manufactured sanitary pad and here na yes, pad you use Ghana we produce and most of them are actually imported. And so how is this tax waiver going to affect the sanitary pad industry?
Okay, there's a confirm to us here. Says ubisa say dodoɔ na ye didi dwuma e wo mamu no. Ye de toto ne ye wo mamu na etimi sipaya na.
That's the question that we are actually asking. Say sure.
Na say etimi nkosisi saa de a na ne ye kra no bedoso.
Ne kra ne doso. In fact, that is the situation.
But yanhwe ne kra no eto na da so na ban so be ne den.
Aban na nka bibia amfa or say there will be 0% VAT on locally produced. Enti say yam producing wo ha. What I say, yam producing wo ha, there's no way that the VAT of 15% will apply.
Okay.
But the most important thing is say share locally production, which means that say we a company now say per production wo Ghana ha. This will be a welcoming news for you. Say
okay.
What's that say we a production, you are going to enjoy that 0% VAT, you know.
Okay.
That is it.
Kofi udim. Na me hold on kakra because eba pad na asem ne dia asem kese pa e wo honum. Now Mr. Chamber of Commerce and Penifo. Abraboko de Mr. Mark.
Yeah, boko nyamia.
Okay, so Mark Badu Abuaje CEO de Ghana Chamber of Commerce. And asanso and Openi Clement Boateng vice president and Maguta Ekun winning Penifo one pay also by joining a discussion. Eti Dr. do also say so a economic lecturer at University of Ghana. Also adwani ozuma so enche be kono so ne kodi enkomo. Baabi a Kofi e de aba be dream. Say aban say eto ya eda wona ebeye pad wo ye mamu no. Wo yi sa to na free wono. Ba wo hwe pad dodo a ye didi dwuma e wo ye mamu a edo so chen ne ye produce no. Now that 1 year ya aban sa enche we e de agu akwam no. Ye betimi ameti demand na market ne penana.
Opening the di kan maminchia pastor Mrs. Boateng omo wasama nkesi New JSDA Church ene abusuafo nyina. The idea say opening no edi sa tax no opese oma senior ye ton locally made pad no oma ne bo no ekofom nti Ghana for no ebetimi ayeden atod. Sisia no so the VAT local social environment no obia o produce bibia o Ghana no ne boedin.
Yeah.
O hwe utility tariffs, o hwe interest rate, o hwe other way factors of production, the cost was so as compared to the rest of even Africa.
Okay.
Inti ama sisia no so mu wie no the VAT ne to so ane boedin. Inti se Ghana ni ko na se Ghana de da hono na se sebe China de da hono mo a China de ne bo no wo fom enti so ni sika on to Ghana de se yaye wo Ghana ntimi to wo Ghana obeto ni ayaye a ono ne ho besusu a obetimi ayusu
ayeyi VAT ni nyina free so nyina
enti me che odi enti a se yeyi VAT na ebebo ama local production akoso na bo aye nkrofo no aha enti se yeyi VAT na senior Ghana for the end price ni be no ebeko from ada say ebe match up to near omo import no and na say no kra beko from the door and say Ghana ni du ho na say Ghana de no ho no money atwo made in Ghana na say efe na timi ye adwuma other part na wo other efi baby ba ne so betimi aya Ghana ni no ebeto e no nti ebe ma local production for no omo ho aheha o ma ye nso ye de yetimi ato say ye yes a Ghana for ni bebre na abeto Ghana for de no ye free bibi economies of scale ye to Ghana for there na Ghana manufacturers no omo ye pad no omo so omo ye bibi na omo we enjoy economies of scale into price no ebe ba form into ye hwe say within say ye omama relief ye Ghana for there no ebo no be ko form ama Ghana for etumi ato pad na yaje wo Ghana ha no no enye sa eyi no relief no ho man fa so because say you still ye di obi di ba ye the say no ma eno nkyere say you cannot import pad in free baby ma obetimi dia but you will not enjoy the tax relief now VAT relief now your dear locally produced pad you will not enjoy it until the count there no ho a o import na o there no it's assumed say price no be cost until you betimi ato Ghana for there no
Papa Nick Clement Boateng your production betimi meet demand within the next year ya bra yes share interest rate cost inflation e bompa se betimi aba from Badwam Mpensenpensemu ejine enema odo de eye pad ne so no e won say demand no e betimi amiti.
That has been Guterres worry because enkaye die yim anase ne papem ne say say your factories no and as a manufacturing companies now one Ghana ha no
okay
won betimi a produce enema more e dey meet the demands of the citizens now yen any problem
okay
because nyansa ben kwan na wom say ade ne menye bi wo Ghana ha na mesan etwa ticket e dey atra plane mu say me full plane masan ko da hotel
yeah
na makoto bibi ho e dey ayeden e dey aba nyansa bi anim enunti na obehwe some time ago guta na I say any AGI e wo wantwi
yeah
e fa cancellation of the benchmark aban no e maybe a twa modema yan AGI for kasa ho a sese ayeden yeyi e dey afi ono yi ani yeyi dey afi ono na yen no enye se bi a eye ya anase bibi na emu no na ye worry ne se enema na aban no eyi benchmark afi so nyina no AGI e wo capacity a on betimi e dey ayeden
a producer
ana
okay
so on capacity on betimi dey produce dey fine eno dey any problem
e be sa kwat mo so mo bo
e be sa tue bo so ama cost of doing business kan high cost of doing business kan ayeden abafem and it is say no sa waiver na aban no e dey ama locally producers and as locally manufacturers of sanitary pad no yem pipe mu ni say won betimi a produce more na e dey meet the local demands
okay
and yes dia emfamfa so bi anya den
Mr. Dr. Adu Owusu Kodie economics lecturer University of Ghana say usa wo hwe the market no se ne yadwadie esimi etie interest rate cost of doing business for Ghana any demand for sanitary pad vis-a-vis near ye here ede ye adwo ye mamu a ye market na ready say betimi ayi wadwa Dr. Atie kai mo channel pai e ba bedwam dwumadi so
me am tonka me share busiafo nyina share me nyan mo studio also
mate yada se Dr. ne yebisa se ejamu na mote sikasem kuntembo echi aban si eto ya eda pad e produce e wo Ghana no wapie ni nyina e de free hodom ye hwe pad dodo a ye yusu so ye mamu a ene nyumaku odo a eye pad o Ghana o metimi amiti sa demand no na cost of production kwa no ensa mabo no empeja kakra
me that say say enye sanitary pad nko soprana this local production import demand any a problem rice ka ho maize ka ho we hwe poultry the biana emprempi no the ye di no me demand no always higher than the local production now you import the difference but my management can say from the consumer's point of view no sometimes no matter how can I say how cheap the local material is, the local product is, still imported. And your consumers go on per local one, foreign one. But I'm saying the abandoned person said, don't do it now. Okay, it's me or my Lanka boy. At the end, that they are pretty set, you're reducing imports, you encouraging local production because we share. Level 100, simple level 100 economics. We calculate GDP. Import, they are import variables. So they enter into the calculation of GDP as a negative variable. And the more we import, now the lower your GDP. Now, can say, you know, and call for man echo. And you say, Emma local production cost. Number two, a question beside and say local production a bit because of cost of production. Yeah, generally speaking, cost of production in the country is relatively high. I'm saying we some in country. If we a bit free exchange rate because even at the end kind of local production, I can't be a raw materials and I say intermediaries near the end. And also cry crabber. And you say, "Be say, oh, well, yes, sanitary pad or Ghana, but machine out the bayan or crabber." And I can't get a count sometimes the exchange rate effect, that man, because when say, "See, the whole did dia." I remember one side of the cost of production, and so I consume. This is the cost of production. I'm bubble so one. And the exchange rate in here key. I'm so we so be American. And I say last year, see the whole dinner a call for the obia to ne nyomam ekokowura akra to ne diem wache sala to ne diem ma affecti bibia nti se aban no boa ma sidi na ho de ni gina ebeboa sisi ame no ka say o matimi aya na yes you call IMF program no ama sidi na ho de na gina finance minister say the whole of this year depreciated about 6%, which is relatively okay. The next item cost of production utility tariffs water light is a bit of sanitary pad or the canyon because the machine or the electricity and the power. And it's a tariff was so too much here. Hakakra. No can say tariff was so too much, and the answer is no. We are paying the right price, and even IMF documents, Omoka say we should pay what we call the economic price. Just say yebichia maybe kakra ECG and Ghana water Moka.
Okay.
And any idea tariffs was so be precise. Yet also me and say the interest rates so what we say or commercial banker. What do you mean?
Me talk about doctor.
Me also.
Me trying.
I'm going to be able to also your interest rates. The interest rates in also I was saying no say there was interest rates in the I was so what we say our bank here is around 30% now obetua also nti aban so they share 2024 budget ni say obeboa ama interest rates na aba form.
Doctor before obeto aso no yenhwa de over the years, aban bia say oye now from the Badwam local production akosro. But it looks as if the fundamentals na there bia momotaka hwasem no. Aban fail to deal with that fundamentals no. Interest rate e kan hwasem enye na na e kan hwasem say interest rate e kosro. Exchange rate e kan hwasem nye na e kan hwasem say exchange rate e kosro. Enye na e kan hwasem say cost of doing business wo Ghana no costo. Ushe over the years abaya babaya ko abano moto wotu no e kire se ampase ye pese ye boosting local production.
It's disappointing in most of the governments because figures don't lie. Ushe interest rate, that's interest rate in 30% here. Not just abano abakoni na no omo ntini anye omo because we are also in a competition with other countries. Your sanitary pad hana nipa na local production or borrow at 30%. Also more China and more Japan and more borrow at 2%, 5%. It makes you uncompetitive. And the more efforts, the governments are back efforts in there it needs more room for improvement. And yeah, they are making say excellent and also my idea papa. Or my home be. But I said the the door so also more exchange rate never interest rate exchange rate it's also because they say in Ghana I say for the past 5 to 6 years exports are more than imports driven by the natural resource and the natural resources we don't own greater part of it into exporting we have a retention law. Companies I can see what Ghana had meant to be more but in companies I can say full companies I can say what Ghana had. Be a profit are not the core. In this year, Massa retention law and it's our natural resources now banning the insufficient beer. A beboa ama see the naho in the ama affected local production positively.
Okay.
Interest rate is sometimes a ban say too much from the commercial banks. It is also commercial bank and so the or share rate or the any risk, not share a buying so rate or the any risk now. But the person buying on farm and a buying appetite to borrow from the domestic market is a huge concern. It's a big concern to all of us. And domestic resource, mobilization, na bosia bono mo tisi so mo te bosia bono so na se e bia bank A o sika da ho na sa ban me bo bosia se me no me ne ko na se e ko bosia na dia ye sanitary pad but be my at a relatively low interest rate
but Dr. Menko okay okay Menko Kofi ma me hwehwe ade we finance minister say manufacturing ebe grow say 2024 as against service because you see any abresi Badwam local production across there. na ne yɛhwɛ kɔ ebetimi afa so ba manufacturing so no ebegu no so manufacturing be grow say.
So Oshe yeah manufacturing at this juncture it grow at a negative rate.
Okay.
Now all the three sectors in Ibomwa in 2024 these are macroeconomic indicator targets. Oshe overall real GDP you grow the economy at 2.8% in 2024. Non-oil GDP at 2.1%. Inflation, I say by the end of 2024, now inflation is supposed to be around 15%. The question is, can we quickly move from 35.2% currently to 15% by the end of 2024? That's a big question.
Okay.
And gross international reserve. In PMP, this is where my focus is, because ejodifo any omo free outside countries. Even the strength of the cedi, it depends on Ghana's gross international reserve.
Okay.
And the number of imports cover a bit to me, it can take us in 2024. Oshe currently international reserves is supposed to be around, I think, $5.5 billion, dollars. Now, if you don't do properly here, then it means that there's going to be pressure on your local currency until cedi now. It would money other currencies, a dollar, the British pound will all have some negative impact once you don't have a strong international reserve. Yeah, share exports versus imports. Not dog can want them. Or share the first 8 months of 2023.
Now from January to August.
Now compared to the same period, 2024, you will see that your total exports are dropped by $1 billion.
As a nearby edi free on my Ghana, echo amonone no.
Yes.
2022 na a year change 2023.
Exactly. Oshe cocoa, the enye free cocoa, the enye free gold, the enye free oil. Now compare that same period in 2020, we've lost $1 billion. And these are the things that are supposed to boost your international reserves. And to say, well, we see $1 billion, which mainly is coming from the oil revenue, in fact, the oil exports, because maybe a government budget says, we'll get dollar, the crude per barrel, maybe 95 or 100. So CNA say it's around 75, 78. Into which means that you are benefiting, all benefits are fuel prices and costs. So then see share revenue and now in terms of the total exports, I back government where it has dropped by $1 billion. So it's a two-way affair. Now you share 20 the next way, you share the gross international reserve. Now you share what government wants to do in 2024. Okay,
Kofi, you in 2024, achieving inflation 15%. Mo na mo drive inflation. Mo ankasa mo we nye book masa mo na mo for mo a mo ma inflation se be ba single decade crazy na mo so. From 35% to 15%. And 24 are possible.
Ebeyedin. Ampa, me can say inflation no aya enioma bi in ediba.
Okay.
Nti se o pese o ma inflation ba for mo a ese o identify enioma ediba no.
Okay.
Na oye hu adwuma. Be free BB expectation.
Okay.
Which is one of the reasons why inflation beba. And it's over last year na tama no nkofu hu se enioma kosro no. Afede no bia de BB to ne de so. Na afede kosro.
Okay.
No one thing na say confident say wakan no ye nya egitum say beba for mo a man nkrofo mfa BB ento omusi amonioma so sa mane nko. Another one so currency, the strength of your currency, depreciation. In fact, Bibia or Ghana have almost everything you imported. It is also inflation way now. Greater part imported inflation. And to see the number who didn't come from best.
That's what I search the good for so do.
No, I don't blame them. Sanke timi produce wa senya work na.
Okay.
And can you show so be fa planes or ko China ko to Bibia ya produce wa ha meet the same standard no. Nko because Roberto Ghana there now aton because manufacturers we can't do without omo so distributing no.
Okay.
Enti se wo hwe tama ye si di na ho den call for mo Bibia so den ekosoro. Enti na ye ka se empempi no se omano sika sembe ye a yen share the strength of our local currency. ɛno nso nneɛma bebree na ɛbɛ boom ɛna ama na yɛ sɛ yɛn import bebree a ɛbɛma cedi no ahoɔden ayɛ dɛn akɔ so sɛnea import no nti there is always pressure on the dollar sɛnea yɛn nuanom gutafo yi bro nyaa bɛ yi ɔkɔpɛ dollar na ɔde akɔ import nti no demand ne bɛkɔ so as against supply na ɔka international reserve no ɛno nso bɛma na the third one ɛyɛ supply side constraint ɛno na ayɛ na ɛha yɛn because yɛn na yɛ produce ɛno no wobɛhwɛ wo cost of production na wahwɛ environment sɛnea yɛakeka cost of production no ɛwɔ soro paa sɛ wode taxes a ɛwɔ Ghana ha ɛgu biribiara so a there is no way a wobɛka sɛ wo produce ade no a wa produce wo kana wo boy yɛmfa sɛ 10 cedis so wobɛtɔn no 8 cedis business ni bia ni ho a obi enu ho ye business o ye Father Christmas say me dey me ye business na ade no metete so am obi ato nko bia enye business obi a person o ye dey o make it profit from 2-3 years ago cost of production no kwa na ekosoro nti ama yintimi produce nti inflation no me sure say ahoden kakra ebebam
Clement dey na mbetimi ama inflation etimi edu that 15% finance minister dey there because only ordinary na ebu mu na mbetimi ama na bam.
Yes,
many 15%
na all Canadian. Senior minia abuaje kan no ebeye den. Hwe the major cost of inflation on memo the major push factor is the high cost of doing business.
Okay.
And in Tembia no, Arab Bank of Ghana say they are using the monetary policy rate to control inflation because they think say there is too much excess liquidity in the system and therefore say you raise monetary policy rate na ebe check inflation no inflation ni say sika bebre ewo system nim na HAC enema ketwa bi ewo krom enema ewo krom minua ashoto ana enema ashoto ye enema wo krom bebre
enti sika no ho amo
enti sika na this high inflation e ba no the high cost of doing business because say odwede ni bia ni ho ono no obe spend it onfanye den onfa ento so ma on recover the expenditure na why den why expended no enu nti na ye ka say aban no emo modern say obe reduce the high cost of doing business.
So it means say Bank of Ghana the ordinary ebu ese sika bebre wo krom ya HC ni makakra bi but oba from nso a sika ni amanfo botu it was see ko hwe ba bi a sika bebre no ewo
yes sika bebre na wo hifa
supply of money sika na e babonte a Bank of Ghana for that is one of their responsibilities.
Yes,
they control the monetary.
Omunim sika omo aba. Omo finance government hugely. Into omunim sika ewo ho so o hwe M2 say na bia supply of money o be hu say ayeden akosoro. Into omo madwin mu de
scan system.
Into system so busa ni say.
Anakofika ka oboto. Okay. We are going bula MS e ba me Dr. Adom Susa ko le be start us ni say 15% inflation aban eka no eye possible ana bedwam die mulabre aso otwa bia do pai obedi esi ye ba esa wonyina kwa babiem St. Andrew Senior High School simen ka say umofra na omawie JHS ne omukọ SHS no school ba ko eso bia je atum eye St. Andrew Senior High School ukọ school atum say yes wa ba fie pa akyerɛkyerɛfo abotre ne abadaye omde ekirade etro bi bia wa wie St. Andrew Senior School bia ho to say na brabo no eye different cra e fini pa bebre abrabom so ba na wie GHS na ofin up SHS a wo the resource cra ma ya fa no call St. Andrew CA ni enko register no resource ne ba ni formalize no school no ye won krabata ba ko asimfo so Accra new edubiase dunkwa on of fame mankesim shama na fe sehwi asanwede so bibia ni afre na ginchiremu 0244 696911 0244 696911 and 020 7891004 St. Andrew Senior High School. We are always in the lead. Lucky Herban so enie se du pa badwa so a ebotu yade enyina ase eno se eye stroke, diabetes, hypertension, bema na so oba na won ya dia mo a for nature lucky herba for atnaye no ntimi enso ano 10 one hospital so do ntimi say we wura broni hospital pa bibi bi e de sayade bi adu won mu a e bi won hwamatna kase no ogomua ogwa krom wini ba swedro kwantepo no som fre 0243 201 244 0243 201 244 lucky herbal say why lucky Kel Chaco toothpaste and so no betchu sama say fita e come and kwandia aye Kel Chaco toothpaste na me kan for the amount me see me ne fear that say ade be me me for brinya hangover uwia enye hunu ice cream ke mame fa Kel Chaco toothpaste twitro si eno amen kan bia bia Ghana supermarket bia be kombia no benya bi ato ewo ehodom en be ko na so yasne be de Mpensenpensemu enso ebro ne anope Dr. Adu Owusu sa akode economist University of Ghana doctor nearly a beside say 15% yeah finance minister chimode ne abu say ye betimi at inflation aba bedru baby a wotie na ahwe nkrata odru a eye available to you a eye possible say betimi be 15% no hello doctor okay but okay yeah I feel okay
it's possible sir or ankasa 15% will be achieved in January or February or March or say the end of the year until we are talking about December 2024 now a band project didn't say oh yeah we know see and I some mass be and I think I understand why they did that okay last year by this time the inflation and December 2022 with 54% and I mean okay say it's around 35 hopefully by the end of the year and I call about 32 or so and so sure the reduction here 20 percentage points so in 1 year no almost so by 20 percentage points from 54 to below 34 and so we had the same projection and on model 2024 we say if we are so from by 20 percentage points here and the next year so no you so the same 20 percentage points every 35 me no can say akọ 15% now at the end of the number 1 you share IMF program no emu na your budget yes abana dia ye na of fairly be tight fiscal policy and tight monetary policy just say abano so the be say na expenditure and revenue gap na that revenue expenditure be close no so close to sana eboa ma utimi tem inflation number 2 a tight monetary policy a Bank of Ghana so increasing the policy rate now Bank of Ghana no as at the same time what can say obey 0% central bank finance just say so abano kodi bro ni sika so ama man in China basic can be an no enti eno no beboa ama inflation no what my mini ba hoka more money chasing fewer goods no eno no angle no just say abano sika 7 obehwe ni year and a Bank of Ghana so say be afi we there oma abano bosia bia
enti doctor say wohwe for example ekoya fa so aboama inflation abafumu a ebi mu Bank of Ghana monetary policy rate she bia omugina so ma banks how do hwe so de ebobosia so mu susu de na say sika bebre wo Ghana hanu a epe enema ketua bi na ato enema inflation wasem nyakodo but wohwe ye man ye timi a ohia obi esu se sika ni mbotom eti se sika bebre na Bank of Ghana na adwena bu se ewo system no ewo hefa
and there one side of the argument Bank of Ghana more practice what we call inflation targeting and it's inflation ecosra not the real exchange rate na perform
okay
in jumbo increase on policy rates on policy rate and that's the be ya on more be up the excess liquidity there usually if the Bank of Ghana now financing of the government Bank of Ghana now in few bia Bank of Ghana now can say sika or dema abino and then I'm a friend the monetization of the budget of the fiscals the monetization of the fiscals
okay
just say abino ko car no ko Bank of Ghana ho say money sika and I make us say I'm a program no omo 0% financing just say aban ko boka ma on nani enko Bank of Ghana was okopesika na ompano and sa excess liquidity no that will be resolved. And it's just one side of the argument of inflation.
Okay.
Now you're back the other side of the argument, a cost of production and mini bond, so interest rate, Interest rate, they say policy rate, a driving interest rate. And the projection for next year, because of the IMF program, budget deficit, inflation, and policy rate so much so. And in the coming months, at the meetings of MPC, we should see a reduction in the policy rate. I was saying, Bank of Ghana policy rate, so much so sana. A better before I'm before so at a lower rate. Now, one part of the cost of production is work from. Idea I thought so a very significant exchange rate. Just by the announcement said Ghana Eco IMF exchange rate is stabilizing.
Yeah.
In the whole of this year, I depreciated by 6%. And the coming next year, and so now, I say IMF program you be around April 2026. And you say I'm a program, no, and I say a banner discipline holiday, and you might go up. See the holiday, no, and from sir.
Okay.
And you also have inflation projection, bet me a car couple. And you might to say local production. Again, my other panelists are about the say a cock cranium every abba. It is a abano encourage local production. Think a first and 200 if I'm on here. Say no, you and yen 200, better be 60 and 50. Okay. And the account. And she can't do a even cables as a son and the cock cranium banner because of local production in Tino. Sad dollar not be Brenna or memo. And a typical example, and you have also yes, and a tree pad, and a new account. We share a Greek sector now, a banner. Will be offering a growth strategy. We share growth strategy now. Financial account was now. Was still our certain sector. Now sector be kind pie a Greek. A Greek in the say I feel what is I can say next year when see capital now never share a Greek move. Because of free say food inflation is very high. Food inflation is above the non-food inflation and it's even above the average inflation. And so the Sika share a Greek one. Next, before Timinia fertilizer, or Timinia combined harvesters, or Timinia pesticides, or Timinia the inputs in the Modiba at a lower cost. Ebema can say a Diane Ebo Abafom. I also build a storage. A banner says a Piafoni or during bumper harvest. All my ninka a phone empro, what the Biba. Abesi said the Bay say, and we hear back. You bet me a power for 80. Doctor, some cacrabi me achieve the 15%, and it's possible. Okay, it's very okay. Kofi, I feel share anima benna a war. Semu for inflation basket to said you. Yet, my inflation, of course, near my best, Anna, or only am calculation. Because it was a PMP, say, Cassa inflation about for my big work. I say, oh, I mean, I'm a share near my metoa. Now, compared to last year, and share that from the Argentina more a movie from 54% to 35%. This is the reason. So 35% now you count was and your friend said the aggregate data or the what we call the national outlook or the average. But inside the data Ghana Statistical Service they provide, I will say, and you might be or the price last year compare the price the same October this year, okay. You should be to say tea bag, the idea tea. Yeah. Nebuah Kosro by 91.2%. That's the inflation for tea bag. You should be to say country milk, 72.1%. Carrot, 71.3%. Carrot. Craminam, dog meat. Nebuah Kosro 67.5%. Idata so and China is 64.8%. And other produce, and share BB to say share butter, and also boa costro non-alcoholic champagne, ne boa costro, amane 61.6%, toothpaste 60.2%, rice, locally manufactured rice 59.9%, fish, fried fish, ne boa costro 58.6%, already made in Kola, ne boys entirely already made. 58.1%.
Kendo cry use ofie cry no. I'm crossing for using 57%. Cassava do and I say be a friend is a banchemore. Ne boa koso 56.8%. Sanitary pad I can one say no 56%. And a tilapia ne tomatoes ni na so boa koso. Okay. All about 50%. Ekwesi.
Ngbati. Back. Senior pension abadi egu akwem de yenhwe no say afie kwakoro at least the first quarter of 2024 there. Ne mabo ba from kakra from manufacturing side.
Yeah, sana ye pe. In fact,
yeah possible.
Ebeyedin because
so na money pa bambusa
my men can be bench no kura no ho na ya ka dog nso be kan de
abaya ye nhihye bebre dia
ma na oyeye no tax relief na ode bae no nkofa ya affect yom no so hwe manufacturing for na omo ye kete largely sanitary pad for in African print for in a side way in electric cars near the come the pedocuni benku the electric cars electricity no the car never be electricity and no have my own reservation about that but dani ebusa sanka ban ya kebema cost of production aba form ama prices and so aba form no ya nyemu bia ebini say COVID-19 levy you can say aban yin free ho COVID-19 atwam kodi daada in fact Ghana pe America bibincho Ghana pe ina omoje COVID-19 levy COVID buy
abai say COVID-19 levy na wo no COVID ne buy no obo katwitwire de ebi ni free water ni free light eni nnuane e chema amanfo edi ye sustain yom
unim sika IMF ena World Bank any donor agencies dey ma buy for COVID-19
ebi nso ye bosia
kubisa be na ya grant
it's a bank and credit.
Omaka say oma ye hu sika e buy ni senia o spend here.
Senia we finance minister ko bu nkonta dada.
Omu ye.
COVID-19.
Yes. We no me hu ni say enti no hwe COVID-19 no affect obia.
Enti yi COVID-19 level ni free na mabo ba from.
Your ma taxes be 3 bia.
Ebi apart from COVID-19
the growth and sustainability levy in the excise duty am dey buy 3 months ago. You know say IMF issue. What we are seeing, that levy ni tax no, affect manufacturing and businesses be a Ghana hanom. And now yes, I'm sure. So o produce no the can ho a cost ra or transfer amount. Enterprises no ma form. In your mind can taxes are. In fact, so GDP growth now almost 3%, no more can ukwohwe mu a. Bebre na ye face bia areas a nka wo say yenya growth a ebebo ama businesses for so expand my employing go for ninya contract here
okay mo de
manufacturing no ne any ade enti no ma no sanka otimi yi ya and then kibetimi am assurance say ebeba from as it stands now yanhwe ni ya enoma bo ebekosro inflation okay for the past 3 years government inflation targeting our missing nyina even when they come to media and review it they miss it. Last year target say media review on the kind it's not likely say you be achieve at the end of the year
some money entimi enya nema bonte so I think say good for metimi aboy some dey China for there omo do no e go from kra na Dr. Ekan 2% 3% timi na bo be from kra na say impossible say nema bo
na say 2% 3% na on the on a borrow on chroma on the nema at the mayen no one the mayen and the man assuming savings say one the credit here krana see kokotuaka kokotuaka
but at least we form
ebi e wo fema ahanu odi nema na bedu port hano
okay
the levies and taxes are utua wo port ho ansa na do nema na babonten no that is what we are talking about
okay because we have China and boarding they bedu had ya
China ne bo ofo but ebedu ha it's not saying you don't have any option because it is in the custody of the government until you pay the levies and taxes and the import duties. No, now as currently, we have about 22 levies and taxes. And send where you not to even talk about the weekly review of the exchange rate. And you say you can't want them say enka ebema nema bo are stable. I'm a businessman, so what my projection? It is a weekly review now. One a year exchange rate in port one. At least can one maintain no. Ebia quarterly crana. No one say ebia this quarter no. Ebia rate ye di niam port one. You fancy ebia 11 cedis 11 cedis no. And now the be niam. Until say ne. Who the paying a buy and I could ye na utua 1 cedi. Who say the next 3 months no. Who the paying bar. Sa 1 cedi na na be then. And I'll bet you and therefore also tonwa. Also price now also beton no. Also beton no. The same you know for that period.
So niamu kere means 8 taxes reliefs na ban e dia ba no. E be ye kwa o.
E fa fa so bi amra yen.
Dr. Adu osu sa akode ohun ni sa.
Ada obisa je before na year. Okay. So let me provide a context for my answer.
Okay.
As a jati fie na onye sika ento aduane bebre e ma ne ma.
Yeah.
Na ne ma no bi say sika na de ma me na esuanti pe bi ka ho. Na e jane say okay, me ntimi nko nya sika bebre mfra bonten man. So dem de 1 cedi account sika no ho.
Yeah.
The bana beka say swade ma e jane so beka say de metimi ayare no. Enti say eso say enso the abane betimi ayare no because economy no be agina no for the past 2 years Ghana ntimi nkobo busia en free Eurobond market since January 2022 enti onya busia bia en free outside emba. Number 2, even domestic borrowing no is at a higher interest rate.
Yeah.
Number 3, now we are preaching 0% financing from the central bank. Ni nyane say abano enie de da so bia obabia de say sika onya no oman mu no enkwa na ni ordinary betu a greater part of it no taxes na ye nyina nim say tax no enye revenue nkwa na timi achieve that sometimes introduce tax to discourage consumption. But aban so nim say what the tax so bebre a obekre sika bebre.
But Dr. people should feel say aban taxes na original as a wrong targeting be yabem. For example, we share the mining sector say ya sika kase pa e wo mining o ba wo hwe sika aban eji wo mining sector na e hwe dan kwari mbebere something like royalties ye da so tua 5%. Looking at sika wona etuf magudie enya wo man mu de kwa amano na enya de ketwa.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you, and I said we can the same point on another station.
Okay.
And to my point, remember.
Okay.
And say abandonment too many tax reliefs here, or risika, so I want to mean ya kwai, want to mean you, want to mean ya kanya. And tika crown of which media boy be for and what the moment.
Okay.
That want to mean ya be brave. And see, me mum party and come to say, so beside say, the recommendation with the buying before the budget. I can say. O tax receive revenue o pesika free trauma economy no hwe bia economy no ye ekoyie no akọ tax ho
yeah
na omo ho chiri wo mu no we relieve wo mu.
Okay.
And manufacturing sector me na also do no okay say manufacturing sector no is growing slowly, which is true, and system ka ho no otimi more reliefs.
Okay.
Ananko o ye balancing no wo sectors ya grow.
Mate meda say Dr. Adu Owususa kwade we fa cheme na nyame adu ochara pa mesa eno yenta no nto aso e wona atwedwe de so pen for me da mase sam je be 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 de akwesi sia na se kese ko bia onya bre